example, if you're an albino and you have a skin condition that warrants you staying under tint, we also expect you to come with medical report from recognized medical institutions in this country. If you have an eye condition that makes it imperative for you or compelling for you to stay under a tinted environment, we also expect you to bring a medical report. And once these medical reports are from recognized government institutions, they are treated as expert documents or expert opinion. And that is it. But when you are applying for tinted glasses on security grounds or security reasons, we have the power to look at the general security situation surrounding you as a person, and then we'll be able to make decisions. If you look at that law clearly, you will see that the Inspector General of Police is the appropriate authority here, or whoever the Inspector General of Police has delegated his powers to. So the basic thing is you must have good cause, and good cause has been clearly defined by the law to mean health grounds and security grounds. Health grounds is a very technical thing, but again, if you have a paper from an expert showing that you have a health condition, the Nigerian police force will admit that paper, except there are obvious reasons for us to doubt them. Of course, if you come and the medical paper says you have a skin condition, and we look at you and there's no skin condition, if the medical paper says, for example, you're an albino, and obviously you're not an albino, we're definitely going to turn it down. So, and you must also remember that if there is need for us to conduct a second check, we can also conduct a second check because the Nigerian police also have a functional medical unit that is also staffed by well-qualified doctors, including dermatologists, eye doctors, and the rest of them.
Well, for you to be on the safe side, don't you think the Nigeria police should as well conduct its own medical examination, knowing that we could also have some collusion? If you're truly a good criminal, you must also maybe have a criminal in the medical profession that will issue you such documents. Why can't the Nigeria police also conduct its own checks?
No, the truth to lie is that the situation here is very clear. If someone brings a medical report on his surface and interacting with the person, you will know, you will have a basic idea. If I've given you situations under which we will conduct a second test, and I say, for example, if you come in with your medical test and say you have an eye condition, and I interact with you clearly, there is nothing that suggests you have an eye condition, definitely we're going to conduct a second test. If you come in and you say you have a skin condition, and there is nothing clearly showing, apparently showing that you have a skin condition, we're going to conduct a second test. So the truth really is, the law gives us enough powers for us to investigate, to conduct second tests. But again, there are also situations that are very clear. There are situations where the fact speaks for itself. If, for example, Sulai is an albino and he comes in with a medical report, looking at him, you will know clearly that this guy has a skin condition. And of course, it will amount to a waste of government resources and a waste of government time for you to want to conduct a second test in that kind of situation. So the point I'm trying to make is we will conduct second tests when it is absolutely necessary for us to conduct second tests.
It's you know, very interesting, all the conditions that you've stated and, you know, going by the law. For instance, now you also mentioned the part where if someone is an albino, the person still has to get a medical report, so that if I'm as dark-skinned as I am and I come saying I'm an albino, you definitely know that there is something wrong. Isn't it a little odd, too, that our albino has to come with a medical report saying, I am an albino, when you obviously can see and tell?
It is important. It is important the albino comes with a medical report. The reason is because there is need for documentation. This documentation are supposed to outlive this regime. The man who is in that office exercising this power today might not be in the office tomorrow. And if tomorrow we are compiling or building up a statistics of the number of vehicles that we've issued permits to, we need to be able to classify them and grade them differently. So the point is the medical report is important. It is important for documentation. It is important to fulfill all righteousness. It is also important for us to be able to classify our record appropriately. Particularly because tomorrow someone else who is on that seat might not have been the person who have interacted with you at the point you came to apply for those permits. So these things are very, very important.
Just quickly, just let me interrupt you here because you say it's for documentation. I believe that the person is also supposed to come in with a passport photograph, and a photograph is some documentation as well. But let's move, a little away from that and ask, how in tune with the times is this particular law?
It is clearly in tune with the time. If you look at international best practices all over the world, you discover that there's no country that does not have a certain level of control over the type of the degree at which its citizens can use tinted vehicles. If you look around the world, even from United States where we import most of our vehicles, some of the states in United States do have restrictions. If you look at Australia, for example, in Australia, there's a certain level of visibility test that is allowed. And so you don't have the power to just use vehicles with tinted glasses unregulated, even in Australia. In fact, in Australia, your vehicles can be classified and can be labeled unroadworthy simply because you have used the tint that is not allowed. In United Kingdom, it's the same thing. In so many other parts of the world, the degree of tint you can use in your vehicle is regulated. So what we are doing here is not something that is out of the blues or something that
the argument is now moving
to Nigeria alone.
May I jump in here? Can you hear me? Permit me to interrupt you here. Now, we're happy that the argument is now moving to how it's done in other parts of the world and the level of tint allowed. You're aware that we do not produce any cars in Nigeria, as it were, and most people have to rely on importing their vehicles. Most sport utility vehicles now come in a way that the entire front of the car is visible, is transparent. The back, for certain reasons, maybe manufacturer specifications, possibly health trends, or security for children and safety for kids, are coming with some form of back tint, is lightly tinted. You can see through it. So people are wondering how exactly in tune with new regulations or in tune with how manufacturers are making their car is this particular law, because it would seem that Nigerians are just at the mercy of the police who say, well, where is the permit for your vehicle? Don't you see how this is the law and the law must be obeyed, regardless of how it is done in other climes?
I think you are taking this to a very extreme situation. First of all, I want to agree with you that we don't manufacture vehicles here. But at the same time, when we go out to buy vehicles, either from United States or from Europe or from China or from Japan or from anywhere in the world, we've got a choice. Every country in this world have a culture. And you have a choice when you are buying things or when you are importing things to make sure that what you are importing is compatible with the laws of your land. If you go around Europe, for example, they will tell you, for instance, that there are specifications, and that's why you find out that if you use some product, they say this is Europe specific, this is American spec, this is Japanese spec. The truth really is, as Nigerians, we also have a right, when we go out to buy things, to look out for things that are compatible with the laws of our land. It's not like a helpless situation. If I want to buy a car, or if we decide as a people and as a nation to enforce the tinted glass laws very strictly. It simply means that if I walk up to Briscoe Motors to buy a car, for